The lights had barely cooled in Los Angeles before the headlines came roaring in. Luka Doncic is too slow. Out of shape again, wasting his prime? That was the brutal chorus ringing through the sports world at the end of the 2025 season. The Mavericks had gambled big, pairing Luka with a retooled roster and giving him more control than ever before. And what do they get in return? A first-round embarrassment. A visibly fatigued Luka dragging his knees up and down the court. Gassed by the third quarter, turnovers, grimaces, the kind of body language that screamed, "I don't have it anymore." But here's the problem with writing Luka Doncic off: he's heard it all before. From the moment he entered the NBA as a 19-year-old Slovenian prodigy, he's been scrutinized like a science experiment. Too slow for the modern game. Can't defend. Just another Eurostar who won't translate. What did Luka do in response? He torched the league. He dismantled veteran defenders like they were cones in a practice drill. He pulled up from 30 feet, hit stepbacks in crunch time, and led a ragtag Dallas team deeper into the playoffs than they had any business going. And he did this all while, let's be honest, carrying more weight than most superstars. But that's what made him so intriguing. Luka was the anomaly, the boy genius in the body of a bouncer, a magician with a basketball who didn't look like he belonged on the same court as the hyper-chiseled Giannis Antetokounmpo or the wire-thin, twitchy Ja Morant. But now, in the late summer of 2025, something has changed. Luka Doncic isn't just torching the Eurobasket championship, he's doing it in a body that looks different. The jawline is sharper, the midsection is tighter, the legs are leaner but still powerful. And unlike past summers where Luka would show up to training camp looking like he just got back from a 3-week buffet, this time, finally, he looks ready for war. The camera pans to him during Slovenia's group stage blowout. He's smiling, yes, but it's not the same boyish grin. It's sharper, calculated, as if he's heard every doubt, every comparison to Ben Simmons' offseason hype, and decided, I'm about to end this conversation for good. Because let's be real, we've been burned by skinny Luka before. This isn't the first time we've seen photos surface of a new and improved Doncic during the offseason. In fact, at this point, it's almost a meme. Every summer, NBA Twitter loses its mind over Luka lost weight. And every October, we watch him stumble into the season with just enough cardio to last 2.5 quarters. But this summer feels different. The whispers are turning into conversations. The conversations are turning into debates. And the debates, they're turning into believers. Why? Because the data doesn't lie. In the 2025 season, playing with what analysts generously described as extra bulk, Luka still averaged 28.2 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 7.9 assists per game. Oh, and just for fun, he added a career-high 1.8 steals per contest. That stat line alone would be enough to vault 99% of players into MVP discussions. But for Luka, it was met with shrugs. Same old stat-packing Luka, still no defense, still no leadership, still can't win the big one. And that's where the story really begins, because for the first time in his career, Luka isn't being compared to his peers. He's being compared to legends. Only 8 players in NBA history have ever averaged at least 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists in a single season. Luka has done it 5 times before his 27th birthday. The only other player to match that? Oscar Robertson. Michael Jordan never did it. LeBron James never did it. That's not hype, that's math. And yet, when you turn on the TV, when you scroll through social media, when you listen to the talking heads on ESPN, they're not calling Luka the best player of his generation. They're talking about Jason Tatum, about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, about Anthony Edwards. They're handing out MVPs and rings to everyone else, and Luka, he's just there. That eats at a competitor. You don't drop 30 pounds in a few months unless you're fueled by something bigger than fitness. You do it because you're tired of the noise, tired of the narrative, tired of being the guy with god-tier stats and zero hardware. Luka Doncic didn't just cut carbs, he cut complacency. This version of him, it's different. It's surgical. And you know how you can tell? Because the weight loss isn't just aesthetic, it's functional. Watch how he moves in the Eurobasket games. The slow first steps are gone. The long possessions where Luka would dribble in place, panting by the end, are replaced with fluid motion. He's off the ball more, cutting, sprinting. He's attacking early in the shot clock. These aren't tweaks. These are transformations. And the most dangerous part? We're still only seeing the preseason version. Because when October comes and the lights are back on and the NBA season begins, this version of Luka Doncic will be facing a league that finally wrote him off. A league that saw him miss 32 games last season. A league that crowned Shai and Tatum and Ant while Luka was sitting on the bench with a wrap around his swollen knee. They forgot about him, but Luka didn't forget. And that right there is what should terrify everyone.
Luka Doncic doesn't live in a vacuum, and in the NBA, legacy isn't written alone, it's sculpted by your rivals. Kobe had Duncan and KG, LeBron had Wade, Melo, and eventually Steph, and Luka, he's now staring down a new pantheon. Young, hungry, decorated. Stars who, not long ago, were playing catch-up, but now they're the measuring stick. At the top of that list is Jason Tatum. Drafted 1 year before Luka, Tatum was the traditionalist dream. Smooth footwork, mid-range assassin, defensive versatility, a polished scorer raised in the Celtics winning machine. For years, the media positioned Luka as the better offensive talent, but Tatum as the more complete player. Still until 2024, Luka had the upper hand in playoff heroics, carrying undermanned Mavericks teams deep into the postseason, often while dragging 2 defenders on his back. Tatum, meanwhile, crumbled under pressure until he didn't. When the Celtics won the 2024 NBA championship, the narrative flipped overnight. Tatum was no longer just potential, he was proven, a champion, a finals MVP, a 4-time NBA first-teamer. And as if the basketball gods wanted to twist the knife a little deeper, Luka was injured, sitting courtside in the suit, watching his age mate hoist the Larry O'Brien. That stung. Not because Luka doesn't respect Tatum, he does, he always has, but because he knows he should have been first. His skill, his vision, his feel for the game, it's not supposed to wait. Yet here he was, watching his supposed rival parade through Boston with a cigar in one hand and confetti in his hair. It wasn't envy, it was a challenge. Then came Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the silent assassin. While the spotlight followed Zion's injuries and Jaws controversies, Shai just kept ascending. And in 2025, he took the final leap. MVP, NBA champion, Finals MVP, a year for the ages. He had arrived. The same age bracket, the same burden of expectation, but unlike Luka, he had finally gotten over the hump, and he did it with a calmness that seemed to mock the chaos around him. Luka's greatness has always come with fireworks, with drama, with flair, with tension, but Shai, he glided, unbothered, untouched. Luka watched all of it, from the sidelines, from the rehab table, from a place of reflection. The contrast was sharp. Tatum with the banner, Shai with the trophy, Luka with questions. And that's when something cracked open. It wasn't just about weight loss anymore. This wasn't just about trimming fat or rehabbing knees. This was about legacy. Luka had spent the first 6 years of his career dazzling fans, wowing stat nerds, and frustrating purists. He had the flair of Harden with the poise of Bird, the stats of LeBron with the body of someone who ate LeBron. And that paradox defined him.
But now he wasn't interested in being a paradox anymore. Now, Luka wanted dominance. And here's the twist. The media didn't just doubt him because of his body. They doubted him because of the aura shift. Luka was no longer the kid genius. He was turning 27. The timeline was closing. The young superstar label had an expiration date. And in 2025, that label expired. The league stopped grading Luka on potential and started grading him on results. So when the summer came and Luka showed up to Eurobasket with a leaner frame and killer instinct, the conversations changed, quietly, but significantly.